Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to the Rangers Ramble Women's Show. Slightly different looking lineup tonight. Brian's decided that Benidorm's better than coming on the Ramble. I'm sure there's internet in Benidorm, given him out the pictures again as he sent us today. I'm fairly sure there is. So he's absolutely without leave over in sunny Benidorm. Alan and Laura have got better excuses, I'm quite sure. They can't be with us tonight either. But I'm joined as ever by Car. Car, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good. And off the bench for I think a second time with us. I think Graham, thanks for filling the void and stepping in. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. What about yourself?
I am okay, I suppose. No men's football, no women's football really either this weekend that we could see because none of us went down to or none of the three of us certainly went to the third place game down at Boreham Wood, which we'll get to. So yeah, no live Rangers this weekend because they didn't even stream it, which was very, very disappointing. I did go to a live Highland League game with Chuck another ground off, but it was decent, but still not the same. So yeah, obviously disappointing week for the ladies. We'll get to the games in a minute. Carl, we were all down at Meadow Park for the game on Wednesday against Arsenal. So what did you think of your first Champions League away experience?
I mean, it was a good time. Still annoyed that there was no pies. I think that's disgraceful, having a stadium of some sort with no pies in Britain is just disgraceful. Still annoyed about that.
I wasn't aware of that.
No pies. Hot dogs and burgers and chips and all these fancy things, but no pies. Very strange. Other than that, in the football, it was great. It was a great old time seeing loads of people you recognise and meeting new faces. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Graham, it was really good to see so many of the regular faces, as Carl says, folk that watch Rangers, the ladies' team at Broadwood, and even about the other grounds as well. Seen so many familiar faces at the game. It was just really disappointing that there wasn't a designated away end, although there was an away entrance. But we had to mix in with Arsenal fans, so we were all sort of spread about. That to me was a bit disappointing.
No, I agree. It was brilliant seeing everybody and having banter with Arsenal fans and things like that. But as you say, when you walked in, it clearly says in the sign away fans, and you walk in and the guy says, "Is this the Rangers end?" So the Arsenal fans are just walking along, and he says, "Yeah, this is the Rangers end." And then everybody, just as you say, it was kind of strange. Everybody was mixed up, so I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, I was outside from quite early on with my daughter, and you could see all the Arsenal fans queuing to get in before they opened the turnstile. And I thought, hold on, this is a bit strange because this is the away end, unless they're going to take them in and filter out on one side or to the other. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Although that could have happened quite easily because of the way the entrances are set at the middle. But I suppose that's just the way they did it. And I mean, Carl, you mentioned at the time it's disappointing because a lot of people, couldn't get tickets because they said the Rangers end was sold out. It didn't necessarily have to be that way.
No, I find that very strange because the amount of folk that wanted to go and buy tickets and they couldn't, and then someone said to us, well, you could have bought South Stand home end ticket. It's all the same, it's all mixed. So you could have bought some more because it wasn't sold out in the Arsenal end until, I don't know, the week before or whatever. So it could have been more than the 250 or whatever we got. So it's a bit strange, but apparently that's just the way that they do it. It's always been that way at that ground. They just have it kind of mixed in the away end, which I find bizarre. But if that's the way they want to do it, that's up to them.
Yeah, it's very, very bizarre. Good evening, Teresa. It was nice to see you in Boreham Wood as well. She was partying with the Arsenal fans, particularly a very drunk Arsenal fan from Elgin, who was bowled over when I said, "By the way, those folk there are from Forest." That was quite funny. that was when you were having your dinner just after I messaged Alan. You were sitting in the pub having your dinner. We were in that pub where they had the fan meet. We were outside that. There was a very, very drunk Arsenal fan from Elgin. Who's from Elgin? She was having a pop at Demi because she was from Mintlaw, and obviously Kim was from Mintlaw, and Demi was supporting Rangers. And I said, by the way, they're from Forest. And I just left them to it. It was quite funny. You had to be there, but it was quite funny. Yeah, I mean, let's get to the game. I mean, for those that aren't aware, the starting lineup against Arsenal, we had Vic Esson in goal, Nick Dock, Cathy Hill, Laura Rathwaite, Leah Eddy, Brogan Hay, Lizzie Arnott, Liv McLaughlin, Kirsty Howitt, Rio Hardy, and Katie Wilkinson. That was the starting lineup. Carl, what was I know what your thoughts were, but you want to tell everybody else what your thoughts were of the starting lineup?
It's very attacking. I don't think we needed 3 strikers on. I'd rather maybe have Tess in the midfield alongside because Liv got a bit outnumbered in there, and having Leah Eddy kind of step up to the midfield was a bit weird. But Chelsea's out injured, Kirsty McLean's out injured, so we're a bit light in that area. So I do get it to an extent, but very attacking, which I find strange when you look at the Hearts Cup final last year and she was playing with one striker up front and we're playing against Arsenal and I don't know, maybe she wanted to just not change things too much and see how we got on, but it could have been a bit better. But I was happy Vic was in goal because I think everyone knows I'll always be happy if Vic's in goal. Not that she made a great showing of herself, right enough.
We'll get to that. But Graham, what did you make of that? I didn't really get a chance to speak to you much at the game. So what did you think of the start lineup? And more the way we actually set up.
I'm with Cara. It was very attacking, which it's good to see. If you're in a final or something, but you've got Arsenal who are you've got Caitlin Ford, Russo, lethal players up front that can do it every single week in the WSL, and I don't know. I thought maybe a bit more defensive. But the midfield for me was the biggest concern. There wasn't really one there. And Demi, who was on that live thing with you guys, she hit it in the nail that the bench was weak. We didn't really have much, and yet I don't know what's happening the last few weeks because our bench was looking quite strong. Just I don't know 2-3 weeks ago. I don't know if there's injuries or Chelsea's just disappeared. Nobody knows. Obviously, we know about Kirsty McLean, but Chelsea's one that we don't know. Is she actually injured? Is she not? Well, clearly not, because Liv was, doing all the work in midfield. But yeah, I thought it was quite very heavily attacking. I thought it was a bit more, as I say, defensive than that.
Yeah, the way we set up, Cara, I thought it was very strange, because especially the way the game unfolded. There was absolutely, obviously playing three at the back, and then with sort of wing backs, there was no protection on the wide. Everything they did came down the outside of the pitch, and there was no, it's not like they had to beat a wide midfielder and then get past a fullback. They only had to beat one player, and and the ball, the diagonal ball they played across absolutely crucified us.
For the first goal, yeah, absolutely. But before that, Lizzie was doing really well, but there was no one behind her to kind of help, which I think she would get the ball and there was nothing to do with it kind of thing. But yeah, long kind of diagonal ball over, headed back towards our goal, and Vic can't keep it out, and we're 1-0 down 15 minutes in, which isn't ideal, but to go that long, I suppose, is something when Liv and Lizzie had a pretty good first 15 minutes, were pretty strong defensive-wise. But yeah, it just kind of undid us a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need to have a stewards inquiry. We've got a comment from Alan who said he couldn't make it tonight, but he's actually in the comments. I'm hoping that he's having a wee break at work just so that he can catch us and he's not just pulling a sickie. But yeah, I actually agree with what he says. Very bold tactics that didn't work in the end. 3 strikers, but no way of getting the ball up to give them the service. Both to concede the wide areas to defend the box, but it would only work for so long. And that's exactly how it proved, Graham, because as Carl said, we did first 10-15 minutes, did really well. Out wide, we sort of, stopped Arsenal really throwing too much at us. And then after 16 minutes, big diagonal across the pitch, Vic Essen got caught underneath it. And it was a decent finish, actually, from Caitlin Ford, given that she was wide of the goal and she managed to knock it in. But that's the sort of quality that they've got, isn't it?
And, she's a big Matilda star as well. He does it on the international stage too. She's just pure quality. But the thing is, you've got they've got quality all over Arsenal. Is it Cooney Cross as well, another Matilda, and Russo, obviously, who isn't. But that's 3 of them. The rest are quality too. And you think, well, we're not actually marking them. Caitlin Ford was just having a field day down that wing, and Lizzie was doing everything she could, but she's not a natural defender. And that area was just getting exposed all that first half. And he kept saying, well, you want Lizzie further up. That's where her natural talent is. She's not, if you're going to do that, use maybe Jodie, who had a run out at Dundee. We tried that at Dundee. But I just felt like Caitlin Ford just had that whole area, and she exposed and took full advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, Carter noticed. It was noticeable that even when we had the ball in defence, when we were sort of trying to get back out, Lizzie was far too close to the centre halves. It's not as if she was going on a run to try and give them something to aim at. So there really was nothing between basically Liv was in midfield, and I said that to Liv after the game, and she sort of looked around and be sure nobody else could overhear, but she kind of agreed with me. You know what I mean? And it wasn't her fault. It was just the way the team set up, the way it sort of unfolded.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the occasion got to them a little bit, a few playing out of position, and it just kind of, they didn't know what to do, but we were trying to play out from the back, which is mental when you've got that quality in front of you who are just going to nick the ball off you and have another shot at goal. So we really needed to put long balls up, which we did a couple of times, but there was no one there. I think Wilco had about 4 touches of the ball the whole game, and Kirsty Howard maybe less. So it just wasn't enough. But I don't know what more we could have done, really, because they were just nicking the ball straight back off us any time that we did get it. And I think we just got a bit frustrated at that point.
Yeah, they are different class. I think, Graham, I think we did absolutely superb to keep them to 1 to the 59th minute. It'd be basically the first hour of the game. And we were all saying that we're going to tire. You can only defend like that for so long. You know, it's mentally and physically absolutely sapping. It was a bit of a surprise to me at half time when Brogan Hay got taken off, because Brogan had a decent first half, I thought. But when Mia came on, we actually looked a bit more threatening just before they scored the second goal.
We did. I think we were. I remember saying to you at the time that we were all kind of stunned when Brogan went off, because she was even, we had a couple of shots where she was chipping the ball, and okay, it never came to much, but at least she was trying. But you say Mia came on and it was just an instant impact. But Mia's got that quality that she can do that. But unfortunately, with Arsenal, they just did what we do to SPL teams, SWPL teams every week, where your part-time teams, well, not we're part-time, obviously, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying after so long, they tire out and then we bang in the goals, and that's when we get the high score lines. Arsenal were just doing that to us because we're not used to playing at that level on a weekly basis. So we were getting a taste of our own medicine that we give out every week, unfortunately.
Yeah, Car. As Joe said after the game, it was the two quick goals after an hour that almost killed us. I mean, the first one, another goal for Ford or Ford. I want to call her Ford because she's got 2 O's in her name, but I believe it is Ford. Mia Macaulay caught a little bit on her heels as the ball came into the box, but it's still a decent finish. And then just a matter of a minute later, Russo, who's what, the European Championship winner of England. That's the sort of quality you're talking about. You know, gets between Kathy and Raf and slips it into the net. That's it. An hour and the game's done.
Yeah, I mean, I think those 2 goals, I think we're too close together. We need to be a bit more savvy that way, where we need to kind of spread out a little bit, and then it gives us options. But once they get past the 2 of them, there's not much else she's going to do but put it in the back of the net. So I don't know if we tired at that point, but I think we just needed to keep it tight after that, and to keep it to 3-0 and not make it the scoreline that it was, because it wasn't a 6-0 game, as much as that sounds daft saying that, because it was a 6-0 game. But we just need to keep it tight, and I think after that the game was dead, obviously, and they all just kind of gave up a little bit. I shouldn't say that. I don't think they gave up, but it just appears that Arsenal kicked it up a notch and we just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, Carl's right. We should have, the 2 quick goals absolutely killed us, and then it wasn't a 6-0 game, but it went to the last 2 goals came the last 5 minutes, but just about 10 minutes after the quick second and third was probably the goal of the game from Caitlin Ford, with a volley. The ball just get played across the box, and I watched the highlights back there before we came on. I'm trying to put a portion blame to people because I'm trying to be too critical of some of our players, but it's just a quality finish. The 4th goal, just an absolute quality finish.
It's stunning, and if you notice as well, like the ball, when they've scored a few of their goals, they're pinging the balls over. It's, you know what I mean, and then they're volleying them and things like that, which you get no chance with goals like that. Absolutely no chance. And that was the difference, that they can do that. Because they've got those big international players, Champions League players that we're aspiring to be.
Yeah, I mean, Cara, as John Weir says, a big golfing class, which we can all agree. And he thought a lot of the wounds were self-inflicted. I think I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say there was a lot of individual errors. That's what I was just saying about trying to apportion blame for the goals. But that's just down to the golfing class, the speed they move the ball out. I mean, let's say that the second goal, Mia's caught on her heels, but then SPF in the SWPL, the players don't move as quick as the Arsenal players are moving around about. The ball, 1 minute the ball's there, next minute it's not there. 1 minute the player you're watching is here, next minute she's gone, and right in between you. It's just, it must have been absolutely soul destroying for them.
Yeah, I mean, we're always critical when you watch a loss back that you're going to look at individual players and say they need to do better there. I mean, I've written down here that only the fourth goal, that volley, and the penalty should have been goals that they scored. All the rest of them were avoidable. But when you actually think about it in the moment, they're playing against players that are fitter and faster. They're going to happen. So I think I've just been a little bit too critical because I was annoyed at the fact that it happened. But it is true, we do that to teams week in, week out. So we kind of know how it feels now. So maybe we'll have a little bit of sympathy for them, or we'll go out and score even more to get rid of the anger they've built up from that. But it does show the difference. But I think it shows Donald and Joe potentially areas we need to strengthen in next season, or even in January. We need to get some more players in areas to tighten up if we're going to get Champions League next season, or when we get Champions League next season, I should say.
Yeah. Did you not think? Look, it's got to be difficult for them mentally because they're not used. As I say, they're not used to playing that level of team. I mean, look at. I never ever liked to equate it to the men's team. But look at the last time the men's team in the Champions League. It just fell to bits because again, they're playing a level of opposition far above what they normally play.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be soul destroyed, and like playing against players like that, and you think, oh well, I'll be able to take them on, and they fly past you, that kind of thing. But they get the same amount of money from Sky, just their TV deal, that we've invested in the women's team each year. That's the gulf and difference between down there and up here. That it's such a massive difference, money wise, players they can get in, infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. It's massively different.
Yeah, I was coming to that, but Graham, I'll bring that in just now. I mean, I believe, and I think it was maybe via Carol Laura that told me, I think, that at the end of this season, the winner of the WSL gets more in prize money than the winner of the men's Scottish Premier League. I mean, that's the golfing class. That's the difference you're talking about. I mean, I've got did a little bit of digging earlier on about the value of the teams, and you can only take it from, I can only take it in face value what's in it's basically the female equivalent of transfer market on the thing. And I mean, the value of their team at €125,000 was the value of the Rangers team at. The Arsenal team at €4.065 million. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know, that's Drumchapel to Monte Carlo, really.
Well, you can take it a stage further. I can't remember the player's name, but there's a Barcelona player that Chelsea were after, and she turned down €11 million a year. So whatever Barcelona have offered, it's clearly more than €11 million a year. And you're talking about that's the WSL, exactly what you are just saying. So the golf is unbelievable.
I mean, Cara as well, talking about that, I mean, I still think it's bizarre that they played these games at Boreham Wood, given that Arsenal selling to Emirates every week. And that's the other thing. We'll get what, a few hundred at Broadwood, maybe a thousand on a good day, which will bring me on to something else later on that I want to talk about. But they're getting what, 55, 60,000 at the Emirates. I mean, that's, and also, you've got, like we were talking about before we come on, Liverpool have signed a contract to play at St Helens, which holds 20,000, but they're playing games at Anfield, which holds 60,000. So they're obviously confident that they can bridge that gap there. That's the difference. They're light years ahead of us. So you had to really expect what happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it comes down to a culture thing. Maybe they're more receptive to women's football down there compared to in Scotland, where it's not taking off as quickly. We're getting there, but we've got about 10 years to even potentially catch up with them, kind of thing, money-wise, player-wise, and just people caring-wise. So it's such a massive difference. You look at the amount of fans that go to their games, you saw them all walking along, and they're all in little groups, whereas you look at our game and we've got 3 real groups of people that go to every game that are the real diehard women's team fans. And it's the same most other teams. You look at Spartans v Montrose on the telly yesterday, there's maybe 50 people there at a push, and it's probably friends and family and whatnot. So it's just such a massive difference, and I don't know what it is. Is it because the Lionesses have done well that people are more receptive to the women's teams down there because they've actually won something and they've done well? I don't know. Need to do a study on it to figure out what it is.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is possibly because they market it really well, and it's on, it's on Sky on a regular basis. Whereas we've got the odd game on Sky, usually one a week on BBC Alba, something's on the BBC Sport, but you just never know where it's going to be. Kick-off times change at the drop of a hat, like Tanner Rice last week, all that sort of stuff. That doesn't help our game either. But let's just finish off this Arsenal thing before I get really, really depressed. So Alan says before he goes to play 7-a-side football, which is obviously more important than we are, so we'll bear that in mind for future.
Shocking, Alan, shocking.
Although there were mistakes in there, as a fan, I was proud at just how much the players put into both games. It was a tremendous effort from the full squad, and they can be proud. He's right. I mean, obviously we didn't see the full second game, only saw the highlights. Alan did because he was at it. But yeah, I mean, proud Graham of the way the girls conducted themselves in the games. I mean, for me, what sums up the unity between in the Rangers women's team was the fact that at the end of the second game on Saturday, despite the fact we got beaten, we'll get onto that in a minute, they still took time to take a team photo, a group photo in front of the small band of Rangers fans that had gone to the Saturday game as well. I think that was a touch of class. That was, they could just have put their heads down and went, "Oh, beat and walked away." But they made a thing of sort of thanking the support like that. I thought that was absolutely different class.
No, it was good, but also the fact that even after when they get beat against Arsenal, they came over and they didn't. If you just had an absolute drubbing, you probably the last thing you want to do is go over and see fans, but they did. They faced up to it, and everybody was. I think everybody in the stadium could see. Even the Arsenal steward, he was saying that your fans are amazing and welcome back any time and good luck for the season and all that. He'll be watching our games, and he says he's got more trouble with the Manchester City fans when they go to Bournemouth, and stuff, and they're saying, but Rangers are just different class. And that's the guy who's there every single week as a steward telling on the pitch. So,
Yeah, on that
was also another.
Sorry, again, on that card, I don't know how much interaction you had with the staff at Bournemouth, but I thought obviously me and Demi pitched up just as the extra time started in the first game on Wednesday, and we were talking to the woman in the ticket kind of souvenir booth thing, and she was trying to help an old guy who'd lost his phone and all this sort of stuff. And then we got in for the penalties, and the staff were throughout the whole team were absolutely superb. Even outside the ground when we were waiting for turnstiles to open, the staff were absolutely brilliant. I thought they were absolutely for football club staff. I thought they were absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much interaction with them, but the woman outside when we went in, Laura had to get her bag searched, and there was a woman at the turnstile, and she was like, "Are you sure you're at the right game?" Because obviously we had the Rangers gear on, and she's like, "That kicks off later." And we're like, "Aye, we know, we're just here for the first game." And she's like, "Oh, no bother." They all seem pretty sound, pretty lovely, and you've told me that story, and a few others have had interactions with a few of them, and they seemed quite nice. And I mean, it's good. It's Boreham. I'm assuming it's Boreham Wood's own staff. It's not Arsenal staff.
It was.
So they are a credit, and to say, where are Boreham Wood in the league system? I don't really know.
They're in the Van der Amber National League, so I think that's maybe the fifth or sixth tier English football, something like that.
I mean, saying that for that level, it's a pretty good stadium, all right, considering, like, we were in the North Stand for the first game, and it's actually a really nice setup, kind of safe standing with the bars on it. It's actually not a bad stadium. The pitch was pristine. It was beautiful. It's such a nice pitch. So for that, they are a credit to it, but they need to get pies on the menu. That's my main takeaway.
I think they were delighted that we were the second game, not the first game, because the woman I was talking to in the week at the ticket office, she was saying that when she came in after the penalty shootout, they only had an hour to turn it around because that game went on so long. They had basically an hour to get rid of them and get it all prepared for us. So they did really, really well. You know what I mean? But my only gripe would be when they searched it. Well, they didn't even search it. The guy just put a tag on the bag I had with me. He says, "I'm not even going to look at it." It was green and white. I wasn't too impressed about that, but that's something I don't think they even. I says green, and he went, "Oh, I wouldn't have even thought of that." But that's by the by. Anyway, to finish the game off, obviously the last two goals, Graham, Kim Little penalty, 86th minute. No arguments, it was a penalty. Rio brought the lassie down. It's a penalty all day long. I'm a bit disappointed Kim Little took it. I mean, okay, she's the penalty taker, but she's Scottish against a Scottish club. She maybe did want it. It'd be nice if she hadn't taken it, but one of them things. Took it really, really well, and then Caitlin Foord with another good goal to finish the game. So that was it, 6-0. As Carl said earlier, not really a 6-0 game, but unfortunately that's just the way it finished.
No, it definitely wasn't. I think, like, when we got to the penalty, you just knew that they were just putting the ice in the cake for them. I think they were just trying to keep going. What we do, just keep going and get as many goals as you can. Whereas I think we were kind of tiring at that point. As you say, up to the 59th minute, they can be absolutely proud. It was just, you're just so unlucky that the top two seeds in that particular round, we happened to get both of them. And that is just bad luck, drawing the top two seeds. When you look at the other teams we could have got, there is potential there. We could have probably qualified, but you have to say credit where credit's due. They didn't shy away from the tasks. They stood up to the top two seeds in the round, and you know what? Yeah, we got beat, but it's going to be a learning experience for next year, and hopefully, as Joe said, in fact, Tess said it as well. Use that as motivation to win the league now. Look at Celtic's draw. I don't like to use their name. Look at their draw. They've got a fantastic chance to get into that group stage, and that could have been us in that pot. And you just think to yourself, 13 goals. But you know what? Use that motivation for this year, and let's just go for it. Let's get that top spot and get a better draw next year and get into the group stages, or the group league, sorry, the new format.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Carl, Graham makes a fantastic point. The top two seeds we could have got were in our group. We all expected whoever won between us and Arsenal. We always expected it to be Arsenal. Let's be honest. We're going to be playing Atletico Madrid on the Saturday night because Atletico Madrid were going to beat Rosenborg, and they were going to beat Rosenborg handy. By all accounts, talked by a woman who talked to me in the pub when I was having something to eat, who was at the game, and I know you were at the game, said that Atletico should have won handy. They just couldn't score after they took the lead. So having watched Atletico lose to Rosenborg on penalties in the first game on Wednesday, did you give us any chance against Atletico on Saturday?
I mean, I was telling people that we could beat either of them, so I apologise to anybody that I told that to because I was talking absolute mince, apparently. But I genuinely, watching their game, there was parts of it where I thought we could easily beat either of those, other than maybe the Rosenborg keeper having an absolute worldie of a game, saving a bunch of penalties and just being world class. But Atletico should have been about 4-0 up in the second half, but the lassie just kept missing shots. So they just seemed to have an off day and off weekend. I don't know what it was, but it was certainly an entertaining game. For if you don't have a horse in the race, it's quite enjoyable to watch a football game that goes that way because it's exciting. If it's our team in it, you don't enjoy it, but I did quite enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I saw was the penalties, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, there was a couple of really good saves, and the final penalty that Atleti missed the last year. I mean, I think the ball's still in orbit. I think it's up there with Tom Rogic, and we're still circling around the earth. But anyway, the team that played Atletico Madrid at lunchtime on Saturday was changing goal with Jenna Fife in goal, so probably just as well you weren't there, Car. But Jenna was in goal with Nick Doherty, Kathy Hill, Leah Eddy, Tess Medag, Mia McCauley, Liv McLaughlin, Jodie McCleary, Brogan Hay, Rio Hardy, and Kirsty Howitt. So one or two changes, Graham. Were you okay with that? Well, that team, was that as many changes as you expected? Did you expect any changes? Did you expect more changes?
It was a midfield for me after Wednesday. I thought, I hope we get Tess. That was the first one. I hope we get Tess in there, at least minimum. The goalkeeper, I'm assuming here that I don't know. Maybe we were going to play Vic if we got to the final, and maybe we're playing Jenna because it's third place to give both goalkeepers a chance at European minutes because that could be vital next year. I don't know. I'm not Joe, and I don't get paid enough to be Joe. But like that's something that only Joe and Jay and Hadji would know that. But that for me was like, yeah, an interesting team, but glad that we were kind of shoring up the midfield.
Yeah,
but again, I don't know why Camille. Sorry, I don't know why Camille wasn't playing either. That was a strange one.
Yeah, I mean, Camille only came on for sort of 7 minutes towards the end, Carol, although she got 25-30 minutes in the first game, which was it probably was a wee bit strange because she got more minutes when the game was gone than in a game where it was. I mean, okay, by the time she came on, it was gone, but she'd come on a wee bit earlier. She could have maybe done something, but I mean, the goals we lost again. Trying to be critical. The first goal, Nick Dock's got to do better.
Yeah, she does. And before that, Kirsty Howitt should have had about 2 goals going by the 4-minute highlights that we saw because she hit 2 shots straight at the keeper. Yeah. But anyway, Nick needs to do a lot better there. But I don't know, maybe they're tired. It's a nothing game. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but you're hoping that it's not a reflection of Nick, because if you look at goals we conceded last season and previous seasons, it always seems to go through the middle, and it's kind of Nick that's usually involved in it. I'm not saying that it's her fault all the time, but sometimes that does happen. So it's definitely something we need to look at and address if that is going to become a problem. But the finish is lovely. It's a great goal. But before that, it really needs cut out at the point before it gets to that point.
Yeah, Graham, the next two goals, a mate of mine messaged me before I got a chance to watch the highlights. I've watched the highlights. Yeah, Kathy Hill will have nightmares about the second and third goal, and I've watched them back. And he's probably right. Although the second goal, the girl does really well to keep possession. She sort of dances past three of them. She should have been stopped there. I mean, for me, you're only a goal down. Just take her out. Just old school. Just get her. Just if she can't get the ball, get her. Just don't let her get any further. And then she puts it into the box, and it's two, and then the third one as well. It's just, I don't know, probably mentally draining, probably absolutely mentally draining. Just, again, Atletico Madrid. I mean, looking at the transfer market, they're 1.8 million euros compared to 125 grand. You know what I mean? They are a much bigger, better side than us.
It's but back to the budget thing and as well, and not saying we've not got rubbish players, we've got fantastic players. It's just it's like the men in Europe. It took us a while to get to the final in Sevilla a couple of years ago because we kept building and building and building. We just need to do that now on the women's side and start building because we've only had 1 year of experience. This is year two and a new manager as well. So it's just keep that going. And as John says, just keep playing better opposition as well, and even get friendlies against, I don't know, Feyenoord, Ajax, and things like that. Get that kind of Champions League experience, by playing them maybe in July or August or something, or July, sorry, before we play. Maybe that's, I don't know. I mean,
I know, Carl. They tried that. They played Levante in the summer when they were over, and one of the reasons for that was they knew what was coming up in the Champions League. I mean, hopefully, as we keep saying that, the SWPL is strengthening a little bit. I mean, Hearts look to be they're going to be a force this year. I thought Hibs might be as well, but going by what happened on Friday, I don't think they're going to be. So and Glasgow City aren't going away, although we thought they might, given there's no European football. So they'll still be. So hopefully it will be. Some of the games can be more competitive, but it's still. I mean, the new league format next season will hopefully help as well. Make less meaningless games. And talking about meaningless games, I'd like both your opinions on this. The game we had on Saturday, third and fourth place playoff. Is there a more pointless game in the world of sport than a third and fourth place playoff?
Scotland men's team at the Euros?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? What's the point? What's the point of a third and fourth place? I just don't get it. I get it. It's to play. So they've got another game with it, but third and fourth place playoffs. I just don't. I've never understood them. I've just never seen the point.
Well, it's 4 coefficient points, which for us means naff all. When I think we're 30th or something in the rankings. I don't know where we are, but we're pretty far down that way. So it means nothing to us, but maybe for Atletico Madrid, it'll make a difference for them next season or what have you. I don't know, but at least next year we've got the other European competition. I don't know what they're calling it yet because they keep just calling it the second tier European competition. So I'm hoping it's a Europa League or something fun, so we don't have to say that every time we talk about it. But it's a chance to play different teams. More teams get into it. More chance for us to do that.
We're not going to be in that because we're going to be in the Champions League next year. So,
but if we get knocked out of the group stages, we drop into it. So it's 2 chances to play European football.
All right, okay. I didn't realise there was the dropout thing because obviously with them getting rid of that in the men's, I wasn't sure how that worked. I've not looked that far into it. I was more concentrating on our Champions League this year, although I didn't think it would go much further than the weekend, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So something else that happened at the weekend. That's the game finished. We've got through that without any tears, so I'm quite happy with that. Obviously, on to the game against Spartans on Sunday at Broadwood, and for a change, sensible kick-off time.
Mm-hmm.
With the men at Dundee at 12 o'clock and the women at Broadwood at 4 o'clock. There's no excuse, you can do them both. Unlike, Graham, the Old Firm game that was supposed to be this weekend, that's been rescheduled for 6 p.m, which is an absolute nightmare on a Thursday night at Broadwood. But 2 hours before the men play a European tie at Ibrox against Olympic Lyon. I mean, it's a real bugbear of mine. We see a look in Carl's face, she knows where I'm going with this, right? they're trying to promote this game, the biggest game of the season so far, and they schedule it when a lot of people can't go to it, a lot of people won't be able to watch it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's mental.
It was originally the Wednesday to start with, at 7:45. That's where it started. Then it moved to the Thursday at 7:45, and then it moved for the Thursday at 6 o'clock. It's moved 3 times since the fixtures came out in June. I think it was June. But as you say, if you, it's a massive game, and a lot of people will be looking forward to seeing Celtic and the Lyon game in the same night. But it's going to be virtually impossible. If you want to attend both, I mean, even if you're watching the TV, you're by the time you get home, you're still going to miss some of it. So it's just absolutely bonkers. To say that it's because of both teams' participation in the Champions League, which is true, but at the same time they could have maybe done it maybe the following Wednesday or something when there's no European games, Champions League. I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but at 6 o'clock is an absolute stupid time because you've got your work, you've got maybe kids and stuff like that to look after. It's just an awkward time for a game. What in the first place? Never mind the 8 o'clock as well, with it, because you want to see Leon, but I don't know what they do. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Carl, I'm assuming that Sky's put it to that time just to bizarrely put it against TNT Sports coverage of Hearts European game that night. So I'm assuming Hearts in Europe that night as well, and they'll be. I think they're the early kickoff, but surely they have it on the Wednesday when more Rangers fans can watch it, more people can go to the game. I mean, the whole point of promoting the game is get people in Sky Love atmosphere. You know what I mean? You'll get, as we said earlier, maybe 1,000, 1,500 folk potentially on the Wednesday night at a sensible kickoff time. 6 o'clock on a Thursday, 2 hours before the men's first team play the first home European game in the group stages. What are you going to get? A couple of hundred? 300 maybe? You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're lucky, because I genuinely don't know. Like, no one, like, realistically, no one's picking that over. If you can get a ticket, if you can afford a ticket, all that, you're going to be at Ibrox. And it's mental. I don't know if they've done it. This is kind of cynical, me saying this, because they don't want the ultras to show up, potentially. But you're just giving more fuel for their ultras to show up. And ours not going to be there because they're going to be at Ibrox. I genuinely don't know. It's probably been Sky. They've put it forward and we both said, aye, whatever, it's fine. It's just so frustrating. I mind it happened with it was a Glasgow City game at night, and the men were playing. I can't remember who it was. We lost. I know we lost quite. It was the game that had like 3 penalties that had to be retaken twice.
Oh yeah.
That game, and it's the same thing. But you're never going to get everyone to go. If you're trying to get more interest in it, don't schedule it at that time. But whether it's been the SWPL, whether it's been Sky, whether it's been us, I don't know. But it's annoying, it's frustrating, it's always going to happen. I feel like it's never going to change.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
they had it at 6 o'clock at Meadow Park a few months ago as well, which is mental, in Edinburgh at that time of night as well. That was just bonkers.
Yeah. 6 o'clock in Glasgow or Edinburgh is absolutely crazy. It really is, because people have got work, they've got to get home, they've got traffic. I mean, even it's just this absolutely mental. I mean, particularly that night we're talking about for that game, the roads will be busy anyway. And then you've got potentially 50,000 folk heading to Ibrox around about kick-off time. You know what I mean? Even people heading the game might go, I forget it's too busy and just go home.
Yeah.
You know I mean? I don't know, but anyway, another thing that I want to touch on, Carl. I don't know if you will be aware of it, but the game on Saturday was me and Macaulay's 50th appearance for the famous Glasgow Rangers. What an achievement for a teenager! What an achievement for a teenager!
Mental, isn't it? Considering she was only like pro last year. So, but then you think about, she played virtually every game for us last season. So I guess it does kind of make sense. But yeah, I didn't know that until they tweeted that, because I don't really keep track of that kind of thing. But incredible for her, and then to make her Champions League debut as well. Obviously not one that she's going to want to remember forever, but she fairly rattled, I don't know who it was, whether McCabe or one of their players, she fairly rattled that lassie when she wouldn't give her the ball back, and she got a bit annoyed with her, which I did enjoy for being a young lassie and facing off against Arsenal and not being scared to do that kind of thing. She's got a bit of fight about her. But yeah, incredible from Mia, and she'll be at 150 before she knows it. She'll be another Brogan Hay that'll just ramp them up super quickly because she's that good.
Yeah, Graham, you think that Mia will be with us long enough to get 150 games, or is she going to be, is she going to be another Emma Watson and end up going away to, somebody for big money very, very soon, because she is a prodigious talent.
Well, she's incredible, but yeah, I think she'll get 100 here for sure, because she's one of us. Do you know what I mean? She's a Rangers. She's a Ranger, sorry, and she'll not want to go anywhere. She'll want to sign contracts, I think, unless a massive club, which will happen eventually, come in like Sam Kerr got, the Scottish one. Unless something like that, Bayern Munich or something, because she will end up in a big team like that. Then, fair enough. You can't deny going to a team like that, but I don't think she's going anywhere. I think her heart's here, but hey, I don't know.
Yeah, and so Carl, who's going to be next for the 50 appearances then of the young team?
Liv, probably. I don't know if we count her in the young team. Do you mean like the Scottish young team?
Yeah, I mean, Liv's in her. She's not classed as a young team, but we've signed her in, so.
I don't know, she's quite young. Probably Laura Berry or Ailey Austin.
You're allowed to say Laura.
Yeah, I think probably Laura Berry, but I don't know the rate that Joe's been subbing Nick off and putting Ailey Austin on. But I feel like Laura's already got more under her belt, so she probably will get there quicker.
Yeah. Okay, right, the last thing I want to touch on before we go getting completely away from Rangers, but obviously keeping the women's football, and I'm sure you're aware of it, is that Chelsea have made a club decision. I know Chelsea are an absolute basket case, so they're probably not the right example to pick, but they've decided that their players, as soon as the game's finished, are disappearing down the tunnel. They're not going to go and see the supporters anymore. Car, what's your thoughts?
I get it and I don't. Like, I understand from a safety point of view, they obviously sell out Kings Meadow every week. There's so many folk there. It's getting a bit crazy with folk crowding round and hassling them outside trying to get on the bus, that kind of thing. So I get it. Also, they can make money this way because they're then holding events for people to get things signed by players. So from a Chelsea point of view, that makes sense because they are all about making money. I get it and I don't. It's a weird one. I get why they're trying to do it, but I think it's kind of a bad look when women's football is still in its infancy kind of thing. You're kind of almost saying, oh, don't bother because you're not going to get a high five from your favourite player. You're not going to get an autograph kind of thing. But it must be a nightmare for them. The amount of people that they've got going to games every week and players just want to get up the road and they're getting hassled at the bus for things signed and that kind of thing. So I do kind of get it, but it's a bit of a weird one for me.
So do you not think then that they should maybe look at leaving Kings Meadow and go somewhere else?
Oh, well, I mean, they absolutely should. Whether they look at building something bigger or just playing more of their games at Stamford Bridge, potentially. But I think they've kind of built a home there that's more their home kind of thing. So I don't know if they would, but they'll definitely play more games at Stamford Bridge. But I don't know if they'll, in any time soon, build a bigger stadium kind of thing.
Graham, do you think this is just maybe the tip of the iceberg? Do you think other clubs might follow suit, and before we know where we are, the players aren't coming near the fans? I mean, as Carl said, it was brilliant on Wednesday, despite the fact that we got royally horsed. The players still came over and spent time with the supporters and thanked them all for travelling and all that sort of stuff. And that's great because I know, well, we all know, we've all seen it, that the kids absolutely love it. The big kids absolutely love it. Do you think it's maybe the start of a slide towards that stopping?
Well, I think in England it's totally different because they are so far ahead. And I actually spoke to one of the Arsenal fans, and they said they're really shocked that majority of your players were coming over and talking to you, signing, taking photos, because Arsenal, they're not used to that. They're used to them just a quick wave and down the tunnel already. Far as Chelsea, it's probably a good thing because having kind of experienced it at Chelsea, and there is a few entitled people that expect, the complaint to stewards that they're not getting photos with their player. A couple of them are going to their cars and they were just waving, and stuff like that. And the mother and was complaining to steward, oh, my daughter is going to be upset at school tomorrow and things like that. And that's just that I've seen it firsthand that there is that. Whereas up here, there's none of that. There's no entitlement, and it's just respectful. And wherever you go in the grounds, you even see the Montrose players the other week, they were going up to their fans and things. It doesn't seem a problem here yet. It might be if you're getting thousands and thousands of people, because it's just impossible for them to see, as you just said, Arsenal 60,000, Chelsea 40,000, Tottenham, if they sell out as well. It's impossible for them to see everybody, whereas at the moment we've kind of got lowish crowds, but if that gets to say 8,000 at Broadwood, you probably would see that stopped, I think. I just can't see them hanging about for 8,000 people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of understand it in the bigger grounds because it wouldn't be possible because you've got different tiers and all that sort of stuff. But the smaller grounds, I mean, I did notice on Wednesday that a lot of the Arsenal players did kind of disappear fairly quickly. One or two of them were bizarrely around at our end, although it wasn't technically our end because there was Arsenal fans in there as well. Because they seem to congregate more around where we were than anywhere else. There was one or two there. But that's just the way it is. So, Car, next up, we've got, as we said earlier, the Spartans. I think we're legally obliged to call them the Spartans as opposed to just Spartans. I think that's their actual official title. We've got the Spartans at Broadwood, 4:00 kickoff on Sunday. So, how's that going to go? Are we going to? Is it good that the next game's a week away from the defeats at the weekend, or would it be better if we were playing midweek?
I think it's probably good. The players got a few days off, spend some time with their families, decompress a little bit, and then get back up the road and back into analysing and training again, that kind of thing. I feel like if we had a midweek game, it'd maybe be too soon because they don't get that couple of days to just kind of relax a little bit. But I think they'll come out all guns blazing on Sunday. I think it'll be a good showing. We, in recent years, have done quite well against Spartans, quite fairly high score lines compared to previous seasons before that. So I think they'll come out with a point to prove, which, I think they would do that anyway. Had we not been Champions League, we probably had the same result kind of thing. So it just depends how Spartans set up. If they're too defensive, we might struggle to break that down, which seems to be our thing at the moment. We can't break down defensive teams. But yeah, I think it'll be quite a good game, high scoring game.
Right, cards on the table, Car. Score.
6-0.
Okay. Graham, your thoughts on Sunday?
I'm going to go a wee bit lower just because it's back at Champions League and Spartans are going a wee bit high for winning against Montrose. I'll say 4-0.
Fair enough. I'll split the difference. I'll go 5 then. I'll just split the difference. There you go. See if I haven't even think about it. So first goal scorer obviously Katie Wilkinson, straight across the board. There's no question about that. Although Carol say Laura Berry if she starts.
Was going to be fair, I was like maybe she'll start and Wilco will get a wee break and Laura will start and score the first goal.
Might start them both.
Maybe that would be lovely.
It would be lovely. So that's it, folks. We'll see you again next Monday. I've got absolutely no idea what the lineup's going to be. I'm sure Carol will be here because Carol's like me.
I'm always here.
Carol's always here. Graham, thanks for stepping in. It's great to have you on. We'll need to have you back on sooner than the last time you were here. Couldn't even get Demi on tonight because she's working.
Shocking.
I was going to get her on read the team lines, but she's working. But fair play. She's doing a dark. She's doing four this afternoon or 6 in the morning. So fair play to her. You know what I mean? So. But anyway, folks, we'll see you next week. Just hang around, get yourself a quick cup of coffee. The main pod will be on very shortly at 7:30, just on the tail of us. No Brian double dumping it today because he's in sunnier climes drinking Guinness. He's probably on his back by now, I would imagine. Because he started early.
Bring some sunshine back with him.
It'd be nice.
It's not been too bad today, to be perfectly honest. Although it was quite muggy yesterday at Ibrox when I did my walking football for the charity foundation. That was a bit. But anyway, we're just rambling now. So, folks, thanks very much for your time, your company, and enjoy the main pod. I believe he's got the phone in back tonight as well for supposedly one night only, but we'll see how that goes. And get the calls into the boys starting in about 10 minutes time.